Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. We're back to regular scheduled programming. Last week, I think I did this on Wednesday. That's because life was happening. But I'm glad to be back Tuesday at 8 o'clock. That's when I'm going to mostly do this. Try to do this. So for episode 11, we are going to be talking about a bunch of things. Trump's tax bill has been explained for the most part, and it's having some hurdles. So I'm going to try to explain it a little bit. And so that leads me to my main question. So if you are in the chat at some point, please let us know. Did the first Trump presidency help lower your tax bill? I'm curious to know. The next thing we're going to talk about is America's credit rating. It has gone down as of this week. And the last thing is Capital One has bought Discover credit cards. Capital One is a larger credit card distributor, I believe. And this was a $1 billion acquisition that was finalized this month. So as far as the question, did the first Trump presidency help your tax bill? For me, I have to say yes. I have to be honest. My taxes were lower with Trump's tax overhaul that he did, I believe, in 2017. And this new bill that they're trying to get passed, the goal I put here is that it's supposed to be, they're trying to pass it by summer 2025. That bill is supposed to extend the tax cuts that he gave to individuals, because if it's not extended, they're going to expire December 2025, and then 2026, our tax bill is going to be higher. So when we do our returns in 2027, our taxes are going to be higher. I have one person in here. Hi. Go ahead, and if you would like, say hi. But if not, let me know in the chat. Did Trump's first presidency help your tax bill? While we are waiting on other people to come in, the estimated bill is going to raise our national debt ceiling by $4 trillion. So that is where he is getting heat from both sides of the aisle. But he is selling it as that the tax cut to individuals and businesses is worth us getting into more national debt. Now, I have this little diagram here. The first thing I want to talk about is individual tax cuts that we are expected to receive, which is the yellow part up here. The top is like the cost of the bill, which is why it needs to be approved by Congress, because it's going to be costly. And the bottom is things that they're trying to do to offset the cost. And a lot of people aren't happy about that, because those are things that have been normal in our American society, and they're going bye-bye. So as far as individual taxes, this bill is set to lower individual tax, the individual tax rates, and they will not expire in December 2025 if it goes through. It's also said to not have taxes on tips. Remember, that was a campaign promise he had. Not have taxes on overtime. Mind you, that's not something I really understand, but overtime is not really something available at my job or my other jobs like that. I didn't know I was paying taxes on them if I was. Hi, what's up, Chad? And then there are no taxes on car loan interest. But the thing is, all of these things, yeah, I know, it's bad. The sink is fixed temporarily. They snaked it, which they've done. This is the second time they've done it. But what the real problem is that they have to go through the roof and snake the whole pipe. Tentatively, that's going to happen next week. I told myself I'm going to give them 30 days from when I complained, which was on May 5th, May 14th, almost a week from now. And after that, then I'm going to get the lawyer. You think I should get the lawyer? Good evening, Is Boogie. That's one to post. Y'all think I should get the lawyer? The lawyer's going to cost me $10,000. So I'm not excited. I'm trying to avoid it. You know that the drama is only $2,000 pretty much after all the costs. It's just laziness at this point. And then as far as the individual tax cuts are concerned, they're going to have higher standard deduction for seniors. So that's why how Trump is selling it to older people, because, older people have, they have limited income. They have fixed incomes. And when he did it in 2017, he gave everybody a higher standard deduction. Now, the thing about the individual tax cuts is that it's expensive. When he wants to do no taxes on tips, overtime, and car loan, this slide shows how much that's going to cost. And it's to the tune of billions of dollars. So no taxes on overtime is going to cost us $124 billion over the next 4 years. No deductions, no taxes on tips, 40 billion. No taxes on car loans, like 80 billion. And mind you, it's going to expire in 2029. So he's selling it to us, but there's no guarantee that once he's gone, we might be back getting stuff that we have to, we're not going to benefit from it anymore. And some other things that he wants to do is increase the single filer standard deduction from 15,000 to 16,000. Now, I personally got to say, like, that's how I benefited these last 4 years, because that deduction did help me. For people who have kids and family, the child tax credit is going to increase from 2,000 to 2,500. And I know that helps a lot of people with kids, and most people have kids. But again, that's going to expire in 2029. And he's trying to create something called a money account for growth and advancement. And it's a new account that parents can set up for savings for children. And the one thing that I did see in my research is that it's going to cost, like, the government will give 100,000 to start it, and then not 100, 1,000, my bad, to start it, and then as an incentive to get people to start it. But $1,000 is not a lot. It's like those $600 stimulus checks. Chad says, "Damn, laugh aloud. I don't know now." Yes, the tax cuts. I think he's trying to force it to me wise about the spending. Yeah, and we need that, because our credit card, we're going to talk about that next. Like, our credit is really bad because we have too much spending. The only thing is, this right here, the math says we're going to be spending more. So I don't get it. It's like a short-term benefit. Short-term, your taxes, Chad, my taxes, East Boogie, your taxes, it's going to be cool. But I don't know if we're going to pay for it like 5 years, 10 years from now when the deficit is really high. As far as business tax cuts, the incentive for businesses is that there'll be new property depreciation and interest expense deductions. I guess they're going to change and be more favorable if you are a business buying something. The depreciation is going to be more favorable for you as an incentive to get people to have businesses. You're going to get 100% deduction if you make a new factory. And we know, East Boogie says, I hope so. And Chad says, yeah, it went down. Now we have to pay higher interest on our. Yep, talk about that next. The 100% deduction on new factories, we know, plays into him wanting to bring manufacturing back. So, I mean, that makes sense that he's doing that, and that would be good. It's just going to be everybody in America getting on board with that. And right now, it's only really him. Businesses don't really want that. And I say that because their practices haven't shown that for decades. But that might change. We're going to see. What it does is remove Biden's clean energy credit. So I don't know if you remember, but Biden did, he gave you a credit if you bought an EV vehicle, and if businesses did energy things. Those are going to go away because, that makes sense for this president. And there will be no change to the 15% corporate tax rate, which the Republicans wanted that, but he's going to keep it that way. I guess that's good, because I would be mad if they paid 14 or 13. No, like, these businesses need to pay more taxes. They can afford it. The country's movies rate, we got a job rate. Some other things that are in the tax bill is that military spending is going to go up almost 150 billion with a B dollars. Immigration is going up because, he's doing stuff with Homeland Security, making sure people don't come in, and he's deporting a lot of people. $177 billion. That's even more than our military. And our national debt, the interest we got to pay is $580 billion. $580 billion. All because we are good with our money. The things that they're cutting is Medicaid is going to be cut by almost $1 trillion, $910 billion. Now, mind you, Medicaid means the poorest in our country. When you think I'm putting on my healthcare hat. When back in the day when I was a healthcare professional, Medicaid is for the poor and Medicare is for the old. You get Medicare when you're 65, but if you are poor throughout your whole life, you tend to be on Medicaid. When you think about Medicaid, you think about women, children, and the elderly. Cutting SNAP or food stamps, which who else is also going to be on that? The poorest of the poor, women, children, and elderly. We're going to cut that by $230 billion. What do y'all think about that? Because I'm going to say personally, well, no, I was on food stamps when I was in college and it did help me. It sure did. I know people need help every once in a while in their lives, but I don't mind it. But as someone who has had to figure it out because I haven't qualified for it, because I guess I make too much money, you have to be really poor. I don't know. I'm not necessarily mad at it. I think we need to change our standing on it a little bit. Like there should be caps on it. There needs to be a way to put caps on these safety net benefits. Oh, I noticed something when you do your videos. I've been told that I need to get a mic. I'm going to get a mic. Thank you. I think that would help. Do you think there should be caps on social benefits like Medicaid and food stamps? They're also going to be cutting education, so it's going to be harder to go to college if you don't come from money, $315 billion. And I think if all of this goes through, it's going to fall on states to do it. So I know when I went to college in Florida, they have this thing called Bright Futures. And as long as I did like a certain number, 75% of my tuition was covered. And I got like a book stipend. So it's going to be different for every state if this happens, because they're getting rid of college help, they're getting rid of food stamps, and they're getting rid of Medicaid, which is sad. It is sad. I'm trying to be empathetic because it's terrible to be sick and not to be able to afford to get care. But I do think there needs to be limits on it. So the job requirements, I'm not necessarily mad at that. There should be a cap on how long. Yeah, I agree. Because I used to work, my first job was a cashier at a grocery store, and they used to have things full, sometimes 2 buggies full. And my single mother, she was never able to get it for whatever reason. So I get it. It's like, and then sometimes you don't want to get rid of that privilege, so you don't have an incentive to do better. Yes, it should be caps on the assistance. It shouldn't be possible to pass on Section 8 for fully. Yes. And I know people on Section 8 that be paying like $200 for their rent and they have a Mercedes-Benz in the parking lot. I know that through family connections. And I've never driven a BMW. I want to, but I've never done it. So that is angering, because what are you doing? Now we're going to talk about our tax credit has been downgraded. So let's see. America's credit has been downgraded. This isn't the first time though. So in 2011, it was S&P Global. We went down from AAA to AA. 2023, Fitch Ratings took us to, no, it's true. How are you on Section 8 and you have a Benz? That's angering. And I have student loans because I went to school. That's a different topic. And then 2025, last week, we went from AAA to AA1. What does that mean for us? Borrowing money is going to get a lot more expensive, because just when you have bad credit getting your car loan, if you have bad credit, that's the difference between an 8% car loan and a 4%. So now they're going to charge America to do its, I guess, official debt dealings, they're going to charge us more. So that's going to, the government, so that's going to trickle down to us when we get houses, when we get cars, our interest rate is going to be higher. So the reflection of outlook on our ability to pay off our debt is terrible. The national debt continues to rise. And if this bill passes by the end of the summer, but realistically by the end of the year, our debt is going to rise higher. The economy is stalling currently. And nobody can tell, but the, consumer sentiment is down and our US bond market is in trouble. That's why he stopped the tariffs in the end of April, because we weren't having our bond money. We had to pay out our bonds, and that was probably going to crash the economy before the stock market was going to crash. So we need to pay our bills. And this is an incentive for all of us to pay off our personal debt. And I mean, I'm out of debt now, but I'm even more diligent about not getting into any because I can't afford it. Nope, not doing it. Another random thing is that Capital One bought Discover. It was a $35 billion acquisition deal. It took them a year. And Capital One did it to boost their market reputation, their market share. There are going to be no business changes for Capital One or Discover customers. So that's cool. And it's still going to say different names. So Discover, the name is not going away. We just got to know mentally that it's owned by Capital One. If you have a Discover card or Capital One card, your points and your mileage benefits are still present. Nothing has changed about that. And the reason why it's beneficial to Discover people is that Discover acceptance rate is not as high internationally as Capital One, because I think Capital One has Visas and MasterCards. Currently, Discover is not accepted in several countries like Greenland, Cuba, Panama, Russia, some East African countries, and Middle Eastern countries. So now with this acquisition, they're going to be able to use their network, and there'll be higher acceptance stuff. So that is one benefit if you are a Discover card holder. And then the last thing we're talking about is golds, because it's my goal to just track gold pricing. And between last week and this week, it's gone up like $50. So I think that's something to be mindful for. I'm trying to save a little bit of money to buy some, but I want it to get back to when it's like 2,600. I don't know when that's going to happen though. And that's it, guys, for today. Hopefully some things I was thinking about is that with this tax break, everybody can win, because I don't mind us winning in the tax situation, but I think it needs to be fair. So if these businesses are going to win, everyday people need to win. So there better be that everybody, the kids, if you have kids, you should get that tax credit increase. Our standard deduction should get increased. If anything with businesses get increased, any benefits they get, the regular people need to get it. I also think debt payoff is critical, especially since America has a bad rating. They're going to increase everything. It's going to be so expensive to borrow money. And that's something we should be mindful of. I'm definitely keeping that in mind. And gold is up, which is good. I wish I could get into it. That's it, y'all. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. As always, we keep moving forward. As always, this is like already put in the presentation, and I thought that was a good way to end it. Let's see. He said, yeah, if you're going to buy some, then buy it. It won't go down, but it might though. You don't think it can go down to 2,600? Gold won't go down. I know. I'm going to buy some. That's the goal for 2026. So I'm going to use this year to just mind the prices. Thank you guys, as always, for hanging out with me. And I will work on getting that mic, because you're not the first person that told me that. I have a mic, but I don't know how to program it. So I'm just going to buy another one. Walmart, here I come. Bye, guys. See you later.